She thought she could control my trash and my space, but she didn't see this coming, or a slightly longer version for more engagement. Every time I turned around, my trash was knocked over. I knew she was testing me, but I had a plan she would never expect. It all began with what seemed like a minor inconvenience. Your trash can kept getting knocked over. At first, you thought it was a simple accident or perhaps the wind on a breezy day. However, as the incidents continued, it became clear that something else was at play. Each time you walked outside to retrieve your trash, you found it toppled, content scattered, and the familiar sense of irritation rising. What started as a small annoyance quickly began to affect your daily routine, consuming your time and energy in ways that felt unfair and unnecessary. Initially, you questioned yourself, wondering if you were overreacting, but the repeated nature of the incidents left no room for doubt. This was not a one-time occurrence. It had become a pattern that demanded attention. The frustration grew not just because of the physical mess, but also because it symbolized a lack of respect for your personal space. It was unsettling to realize that someone was imposing their will on your property without permission. You felt the subtle shift from minor inconvenience to deliberate interference, and that awareness sparked a determination to take action. You recognize that, rather than letting the situation dictate your mood or disrupt your daily life, you had the opportunity to respond in a way that was thoughtful and effective. This shift in perspective was crucial because it transformed the experience from one of frustration to one of empowerment. Instead of being reactive, you began to approach the problem strategically, looking for ways to regain control while maintaining your composure and dignity. At the same time, you considered the broader implications of the situation. You realized that conflicts, even small ones, can escalate if not handled wisely. By taking a step back and observing the pattern, you were able to identify not just the immediate challenge, but also the best methods to address it without unnecessary confrontation. Each incident became a lesson in patience and awareness, teaching you to anticipate potential issues and think ahead. You also noticed how emotions could cloud judgment, and by keeping a calm mindset, you ensured that your response would be measured, effective, and positive. This experience ultimately highlighted the importance of perseverance and strategic thinking. What could have been a source of constant stress turned into an opportunity to practice problem solving, patience, and creativity. You started to see the value in addressing challenges with intelligence rather than impulsiveness, understanding that every obstacle can be an opportunity to demonstrate resilience and thoughtful action. By approaching the problem with this mindset, you empowered yourself to reclaim control over your environment, showing that even small annoyances can inspire personal growth, careful planning, and the ability to handle adversity with grace. As the trash can incidents continued, the frustration began to build, shaping a growing sense of urgency and determination. Each time you saw your trash overturned, it wasn't just about cleaning up the mess. It was about the repeated disruption of your daily life and the feeling that your personal space was being disregarded. You tried to maintain patience at first, convincing yourself that it was just a minor inconvenience. Yet, with every new occurrence, it became increasingly clear that the problem required a more thoughtful response. The repeated interference tested your composure, but it also presented an opportunity to approach challenges in a way that strengthened your resilience and problem-solving skills. The process of dealing with this ongoing frustration was both practical and introspective. You realized that allowing irritation to dictate your actions would only make the situation worse. Instead, you began to observe patterns carefully, noting when and how these incidents happened. By documenting the timing and circumstances, you gained a clearer understanding of the situation and could plan your next steps with greater precision. This reflection turned what initially seemed like a purely negative experience into a chance to develop patience, awareness, and strategic thinking. The frustration became a motivator rather than a hindrance, pushing you to consider solutions that were creative and effective. At the same time, you learned the importance of emotional control. It was easy to feel anger or resentment, but these emotions would have only escalated the situation unnecessarily. By maintaining calm, you preserved your focus and energy for constructive action. This mindset allowed you to approach the problem methodically rather than react impulsively. Every challenge, no matter how small, became a lesson in balance, recognizing the emotional impact, yet not letting it interfere with clear judgment. You began to see that obstacles could be transformed into opportunities for growth if approached with intelligence, patience, and determination. The ongoing disruption also reinforced the value of self-respect and personal boundaries. You realized that protecting your property and daily routines was not just about convenience. It was about asserting control over your environment in a way that reflects your values. You recognize that every repeated frustration carried a lesson in perseverance and proactive thinking. Instead of being consumed by irritation, you used the experience to cultivate resilience, turning a simple household annoyance into a scenario that enhanced your problem-solving abilities and patience. Ultimately, this stage of the story demonstrated the power of perspective. Frustration, when handled thoughtfully, can serve as a catalyst for personal growth. By approaching the situation strategically, documenting occurrences, and maintaining emotional balance, you transformed a repeated nuisance into an opportunity to develop awareness, patience, and proactive planning. What once felt like a source of stress became a scenario that strengthened your ability to manage challenges calmly and effectively, reinforcing the understanding that obstacles, even in small forms, can inspire confidence, wisdom, and intelligent action. As the repeated trash incidents continued, you recognized the importance of documenting each occurrence carefully. This step was not about confrontation or creating tension, but about empowering yourself with clarity and evidence. By taking photos, making notes, and recording the time and circumstances of each event, you developed a clear record of the pattern. This process allowed you to step back and view the situation objectively, rather than letting emotions drive your responses. What initially seemed like random disruptions became understandable events with a pattern you could analyze and address strategically. Through this careful documentation, you transformed a frustrating situation into an opportunity to practice foresight, organization, and proactive thinking. Documenting the behavior also helped you gain a sense of control. Instead of feeling powerless in the face of repeated interference, you equipped yourself with knowledge that could guide your next steps. Each record became a tool, enabling you to plan actions thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. This approach reinforced the value of observation and patience, reminding you that careful attention to details often leads to more effective solutions. You began to notice subtle patterns in timing and method, which informed the strategies you would eventually implement. In essence, documenting the incidents gave you both awareness and confidence, two essential elements in managing challenges wisely and responsibly. At the same time, the act of recording each occurrence strengthened your mindset. It taught you the importance of detachment from immediate frustration, showing that even repeated challenges can be handled calmly and strategically. Instead of feeling defeated, you felt empowered to make decisions based on facts and evidence. This experience highlighted how challenges, when observed thoughtfully, can be transformed into lessons in patience, discipline, and resourcefulness. It became clear that careful documentation was not just a practical measure. It was a way to develop inner strength, self-assurance, and the ability to respond intelligently under pressure. Moreover, the documentation process emphasized the value of foresight. By keeping an accurate record, you were able to anticipate future occurrences and prepare accordingly. This proactive approach minimized stress, as you felt prepared rather than reactive. It also created a framework for implementing long-term solutions, showing that planning and observation are often more effective than direct confrontation or impulsive action. The experience reinforced a broader lesson. Challenges, when addressed with calm and methodical thinking, can strengthen resilience, sharpen problem-solving skills, and promote confidence in handling difficult situations. Ultimately, documenting each incident was a turning point in managing the ongoing disruption. It shifted your perspective from frustration to empowerment, providing the clarity and insight needed to develop effective solutions. By observing, recording, and analyzing events carefully, you transformed a repetitive annoyance into a valuable opportunity for growth. This stage of the experience taught you that patience, organization, and thoughtful action can turn challenges into lessons, and that even small, repeated disruptions can strengthen resilience, strategic thinking, and confidence when approached with intelligence and care. After carefully observing and documenting the repeated trash can incidents, you realized that the best way to address the situation was through planning and creative problem solving. Reacting impulsively or with confrontation could have escalated tensions and added unnecessary stress to your daily life. Instead, you approached the problem with a mindset focused on solutions, aiming to find a method that would protect your property while maintaining your peace of mind. This stage was about strategy, patience, and thoughtful action, transforming a frustrating situation into an opportunity to exercise intelligence and resourcefulness. You began by analyzing how the incidents were happening and identifying the weaknesses in your current setup. This process required careful attention to detail, observing patterns in timing and understanding how the repeated interference occurred. By breaking the problem down into manageable parts, you were able to see potential solutions that might not have been obvious at first. You explored various options, from securing the trash can with simple physical measures to creating a setup that was less visible or accessible, considering both practicality and effectiveness. Each idea was weighed carefully, not just for immediate results, but for long-term sustainability. Throughout this planning phase, patience became an essential element. You recognized that immediate action without careful thought could lead to frustration and wasted effort. By taking time to consider every angle, you were able to envision a solution that addressed the problem completely, rather than just temporarily. This approach reinforced a sense of control, showing that deliberate and well-considered strategies are often more effective than reactive measures. It also highlighted the value of calm thinking in the face of repeated challenges, demonstrating that resilience and intelligence can turn obstacles into opportunities. Creative thinking played a crucial role as well. Instead of approaching the situation with negativity or resentment, you focused on innovative ways to solve the problem. By considering unique solutions that Karen would not anticipate, you ensured that your trash was safe while avoiding direct confrontation. This process was empowering as it allowed you to take control of the situation in a constructive and intelligent way. It also emphasized the lesson that challenges are best met with thoughtful strategies, careful observation, and creative problem solving rather than anger or frustration. Ultimately, this stage transformed the way you approached obstacles. The careful planning and strategic thinking involved in finding a solution not only protected your property, but also strengthened your confidence, patience, and problem-solving abilities. You discovered that challenges, even frustrating and repeated ones, can provide opportunities to demonstrate resilience, intelligence, and practical creativity. By focusing on proactive measures, you turned a stressful situation into a moment of empowerment, learning that calm, thoughtful action often achieves far better results than confrontation or impulsive reactions. Once you had a clear plan in mind, you took decisive steps to implement a solution that would effectively address the repeated interference with your trash can. The key was to install a system that was practical, clever, and difficult for anyone to tamper with. You focused on creating a setup that protected your property while remaining simple and manageable in your daily routine. This stage was not about confrontation or retaliation, but about finding a solution that combined foresight, creativity, and effectiveness. By taking proactive action, you transformed frustration into empowerment, demonstrating the value of practical intelligence in handling challenges. You carefully selected a new trash can or modified the existing one to make it more secure and less accessible to interference. Every detail was considered, from placement to stability, ensuring that the solution would withstand repeated attempts to disrupt it. The process required problem-solving skills and attention to detail, as you envisioned how the setup would function in real life. By focusing on practical solutions rather than emotions, you were able to implement a method that effectively neutralized the repeated disruptions, giving you peace of mind and control over your own space. During this implementation phase, the satisfaction came not just from solving the immediate problem, but also from the sense of accomplishment in creating a solution independently. You realize that challenges are opportunities to demonstrate resourcefulness and foresight, and this experience strengthened your confidence in your ability to handle unexpected difficulties. By carefully planning and executing the installation, you showed that patience, observation, and creativity can lead to results that are both effective and sustainable. This approach reinforced the idea that thoughtful action often achieves far better outcomes than reacting impulsively or emotionally. The installation also served as a reminder that solutions do not have to be dramatic to be effective. Sometimes small, well-thought-out changes are enough to resolve persistent issues. By implementing this clever setup, you ensured that your trash was secure without creating conflict, demonstrating that intelligence and careful planning can overcome challenges more gracefully than confrontation. This experience highlighted the power of turning frustration into action, showing that even repeated annoyances can be opportunities for growth, learning, and self-reliance. Ultimately, this stage marked a turning point in regaining control over your environment. The thoughtful installation protected your property and minimized stress, allowing you to continue your daily life uninterrupted.